Welcome everybody, Mike Martinez and Sensei Juan. Sensei, how you feeling, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's great to be back tonight.
Yeah, man. This is Born to Win Conversations number 7, man. 7. Is that cool? And
Yeah.
you know what? We're today we're going to talk about what?
Obstacles. How to
Huh?
overcome obstacles.
How to overcome obstacles. Great topic, especially since our last topic. And if you haven't seen it, by the way, guys, if you haven't seen our last Born to Win conversations, that would be number 6. Check it out because it was talking about goal settings and how to achieve goals and things like that. So, are you ready to launch, man?
Yes, Michael.
All right, we'll be right back.
So, Brother Michael, tonight we wanted to talk about obstacles because I think there's a big misconception about just like goals, what goals are and what they really are and what obstacles are and what's the reality of obstacles in our life. Because a lot of times people identify a lot of external factors as obstacles, and sometimes they don't understand that those obstacles, the roots of those obstacles may be in us or how we perceive the world or our approach to the world. What do you think about that?
Well, that's a beautiful thing, man. Last week when we were talking about the goal settings, I talked about one of my mentors, Mr. Bob Proctor,
Yeah,
and how he says you should make a big enough goal that scares you, right? That you
right,
really don't even have an idea how to make that happen. Now, here's the key. The key is that you're going to face an obstacle.
right,
If you're reaching for something that you've never done before,
right.
there's going to be things in that path in the road to get there, and those things are there really to make you better, to be able to own that goal, right?
Right,
There's an
right,
interesting book called The Obstacle Is the Way. Now think about
wow,
that. The obstacle is the way. So
right,
when you go and you say, all right, I'm gonna improve my health. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna improve my health. I'm gonna become a millionaire. I'm gonna become a successful business person. I'm gonna become a successful parent. Whatever your goal is, right?
right,
There's always going to be an obstacle. And if
right,
you're the type of person that says, "Oh, I could never see myself doing that," right? Then you're just going to give up, and it's not going to happen, right? So,
right,
what is as a martial artist, you and I face a bunch of
right.
obstacles in every kind of rank up that we're going to do, right? What do you find helps you overcome?
You know, you got to start with passion.
Right.
If you have a deep desire, a deep passion for something, that helps you overcome a lot of things. Also, you got to have a clear idea of what your final objective is, because you got to be passionate. You got to have an objective of where you're going,
Mm,
and you have to maintain that focus on there, because it's like like the runners who jump the hurdles,
mm.
right, in the Olympics, and you see them, they got to get to that goal line, right? But they, while they're running, they got to jump, they got to jump until they break through that finish line. And to me, that's like an example for life. We got a goal, we're running fast, but there's going to be things in our way. And sometimes you got to jump over it. Sometimes you got to go under it. Sometimes you got to go to the left. Sometimes you got to go to the right. And sometimes you just got to break through that thing. And if you can do that, you got a great chance at obtaining your goals. And listen, no matter what happens is a lot of people look at the end product. Like they'll look at I don't know, a Michael Jackson, a Floyd Mayweather, and they look how successful these guys are. That final product. but they don't see the thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that they put in overcoming obstacles and refining their skills to get to that level. So a lot of times we'll face challenges. Somebody may start a business, or start a business, or maybe they have a health thing, and they start running into obstacles, and they don't realize that. Listen, everybody went through these things. Okay, everybody went through some kind of obstacle, some kind of challenge in order to get where they were, and you have to reach down deep inside. Okay, what do you
Yeah,
think, Mike?
that's a great point. We were talking the other day on a private conversation, and I mentioned to you that there's a new book out there. It's actually not new. It's been around for a few years now, about 2 or 3 years, and it's called The Lost Chapters of Napoleon Hill.
Right, right,
And
right,
according to the story, there was two chapters that were taken out of the book, Think and Grow Rich, right? And one of the chapters, so the book Think and Grow Rich has 15 chapters, and there was chapter 16 and chapter 17 that was taken out.
right,
And chapter 16, here's the interesting part. Napoleon Hill called it How to Transcend Above the Common Man. How to
wow,
transcend above the common man.
wow, wow,
And what some of the things that he talked about is being circled around people that are negative all the time and bring your vibrations down so
right,
that you say, hey, I'm going to be a millionaire. And they say, oh, are you kidding me? Who you know is a millionaire? Ain't nobody in your family is a millionaire, right?
right, right,
And they just shoot you down, right?
right,
So what he was saying was in the chapter, he said, this is what keeps most people, let's say poor people, poor because they
right,
just look at their environment and they say, what am I going to do? So he suggested get out of your environment and
right,
go into a rich neighborhood and say, look, this is how the other side lives. This is,
right,
some of these people started where I was
right,
and
right,
look at where they are now, right?
right.
What's your idea on that?
I think that's, it's like they say, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Right,
And that is so true. I'm going to quote the Bible that says that bad companions spoil good habits.
right,
And it is so true, because if I'm a martial artist and I'm taking care of myself, right? And my goal is to become a black belt, and I start hanging out with people who smoke, who drink, who are out all night, who are not taking care of themselves. At some point, either I influence them or they influence me.
yeah,
And it's always easier to get into bad habits than to maintain good habits. I mean,
right,
that's just who we are as people.
right.
Listen, it's a lot easier to sit on the couch eating cake and watching TV all day than saying, listen, I'm going to go to the dojo, work out, or I'm going to read a book to feed my mind, or I'm going to go and work on developing my own business, whether it be, like a traditional business, a network marketing business. You
Right.
know, it's a lot easier to just sit and not do anything, you know.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things for overcoming obstacles that people, that I like to do, I like to quantify the obstacle. All right. I like to ask myself, listen, is this a 1 month problem, a 6 month problem, a 1 year problem, or is this a problem that if I don't handle this, it's going to continue to affect me for the next 5 or 6 years?
Mhm.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question because you brought up network marketing, right?
Right,
And one of the biggest, and I'm in the network marketing
right,
industry. I
right,
love it, and it's just one of my passions, right?
right,
But what you hear a lot of people say is, oh man, the number of people that only the people at the top make the money, right?
right,
The number of people that are in network marketing, the vast majority don't make money, right? So we got what do you say to a person like I mean, here's the bottom line. You and I know about martial arts. We know that a lot of people walk through the dojo doors,
right,
right? And
right,
they all say, "Oh, I'm going to be a black belt." Very few make it, right?
Right,
We
right.
know that you know, in every industry, people go into real estate and they say, "Oh, I'm going to get my real estate license." Most of them go through the schooling, get the license, and never sell one property, right? So,
Yeah.
so what do you say to a person that says the odds are so packed against me, or nobody has done this, right? Nobody
Right,
has
right.
done this. How you know? What do you say to a person like that?
You know, this is what I say. I mean, if you're gonna play the odds, you're never gonna do anything in life.
Right.
That's just reality. If you're playing the odds, I mean, listen, what you know, I love this country, but what was the chances of those pilgrims coming over on a boat from England to the United States and forming a government, forming a capitalistic society where everybody has an opportunity? You know, I think the first few settlements, the people starved to death. The next settlements, if it wasn't for the native Indians, they would have starved to death also. Then you had the American Revolution, and nobody gave the Minutemen and the American soldiers at that time a chance to fight against England. England was a world power, and the United States at that time was what, maybe 8 or 9 colonies, 13 colonies. They didn't have the proper equipment. They didn't have the proper leadership, but they got it done anyway.
Right.
You know, when you look at the Wright brothers, when they were developing the plane, and people would tell them, "Hey, listen, if God wanted people to fly, He would have given them wings and stuff like that." And I remember when Henry Ford started his car company. Again, it was a long shot. You know, my personal favorite singer, Elvis Presley, when he started singing, a lot of people don't know this, but that he was an outcast even by white society, because you know he was part Cherokee, and you know he liked singing a lot of rhythm and blues music, so he got kicked out of a lot of places. And the first time he played in Vegas, they told him, "Hey, go back to driving a truck."
Wow, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And there was this thing called the White Citizen Council, which was part of the KKA, and they went around telling store owners not to play his records.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. So if he would have listened to that, he would have never left the legacy that he did for his fans, the charities that he did, the fortune that he left to his family, that they continue to do charity work. So again, you can't look at the odds. It's good to have a good, healthy perspective on whatever you're doing. But if you're passionate and you feel it's your calling, you have to do it,
Yeah.
because I think, you know, during the day I work with a lot of old people. You know, I'm a therapist, and I always say when I talk to them, they never talk to me about their failures. When they tried to do this and it didn't work out, they always talk to me about the things they wish they would have done.
Mm,
And that to me is sad. You know, when you look back at your life when you're 96, 98 years old, and you're thinking about what you could have done if you would
right.
have given yourself that opportunity. But
Yeah,
what do you
yeah.
say, Mike?
Wow. That's some heavy stuff, man. But here's what you know, when it comes to this idea of nobody else has done it or very few
Right,
people have done it, do I have the intelligence of doing that? You know, I think, and Napoleon Hill, again, going back to that book, said it very interestingly. Go out there and find people that have already done it, right? And we talk a lot about
right,
we
right,
did a whole subject about mentorship, right?
right,
But that's the key, right? To go out and find somebody that's already walked the path that you want to walk. And there's
right.
always somebody. There's somebody that has
Yeah,
done what you want to do. Nothing is new under the sun, right?
right,
So even the people that you know, the first person that climbed Mount Everest, there were people that attempted before him, but they all died.
right,
So
right,
he looked at how far they came up and say, okay, what did they do right? What did they do wrong?
right,
And what kept them from finishing their you know their trip to the top? And
right,
he found the right answers. He tried 3 times. The guy that climbed Mount Everest,
Right.
And the same thing you could be said for Roger Bannister that ran
Right.
the 4 minute mile, right?
Right. Right.
Everybody for thousands of years had said, "Oh, your heart will explode inside your chest if you try to run a mile in under 4 minutes."
Right.
And he found a way to do it. So I think, when we look at, and you kind of touched on it when you talked about Mayweather, and right, but
Yeah.
when you look at a superstar like Michael Jordan, right,
Right.
you don't see all the failures that went into that development of that ability.
Right.
But you
Right.
also don't see that Michael Jordan won every single championship with Phil Jackson behind him as a
Right.
coach,
Right.
right?
Right.
Muhammad Ali won every single championship with Angelo Dundee behind him.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So sometimes, and for some reason, I don't know why people have this fear of approaching a mentor, or maybe saying, "Hey, I see that you accomplished this goal, and I'd like to accomplish that same goal." But I think mentorship is one of the big things that you got this big goal, and
Right.
you say, "My God, I could never pass this because it's too big." But if
Right.
you find the person that has passed it, they chip that goal down so that now it's a small little thing, and it changes in your mind, right?
Right. Right. No, you're absolutely. It's amazing what you do. Again, going back to our conversation about mentorships, I think one of the things that happens is that people tend, out of ego, I think out of ego, not to want to say that they need help or that they
Right.
don't know something. And it's, and it's amazing because, when we have our children, we want to feed them knowledge, and we get
Mm,
upset if they become resistive to that knowledge because we know, listen, I've walked down that road already. I
right.
know the ins and outs, and I'm trying to give this to you so you don't make the mistakes, same mistakes. But when we need help or we need a mentor, again, the attitude, I know, I don't need to listen to anybody. And maybe it's our rebellious nature. It could be ego. It could be insecurities about maybe looking foolish because you have to ask for help. But asking for help and getting that mentorship, not only does it cut the learning curve, but it can also make going through those obstacles a lot easier because that mentor can tell you, listen, you could do it this way, you could do it that way, but if you go left, these are the complications you're gonna face. If you go right, you're gonna still have the obstacle, but you're gonna cut through that obstacle in half the time. And you're so right, Mike. You have to look for that leadership. And it's like, as martial artists, even though I'm an instructor, I like to get together with other instructors and pick their brains about their classes, their art, their technique. Because no matter how much I think I know, there's somebody who knows either more than me, or they see it from a different angle that can shift my thinking, you know
Right. Right.
and it's funny. You remember the story in the Bible where I think it was Peter and a few of the guys, they were fishing and they weren't getting anything, right? And Jesus saw them and they called out to Jesus, we've been here all night, and we haven't caught any fishes, right? So Jesus gets on the boat with them, and they go out into the river or the lake, wherever they were at, and all he does is tell them one thing: take your net and throw it on this side of the boat. That's all he told them. And the story goes that the nets became so full that it felt like the nets were going to break, but they didn't, right?
Mm,
And it was an abundance of fish they caught. And that always reminds me, you see what a great mentor can do. He didn't give them a new boat. He didn't give them a new net. He didn't take them to a different lake. All he did was, listen, you got your net on this side of the boat, put it on this side of the boat. And that little distinction can make such a difference
right.
in
That's a great
everybody's
story,
life.
man. That's a
Yeah,
great story.
because like you're an expert network marketer, you could take somebody, look at what they're doing, and just give them that one little distinction that changes everything for them. What do you
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
Mike?
Well, I mean, that is so powerful, man. That story. And let me just interrupt our conversation. If you are looking at this video for the first time and you like the conversation, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us a like. make sure you comment. If there's something that has stopped you from achieving a goal, or you saw a blockage somewhere in an obstacle and you just said, let me give up, put that in a comment. What stopped you, or what made you go through? Maybe you said, you know what, I want to do this for my kids, or this is the goal I've had for so many years. What was it that gave you the energy, the mental energy to go through? So again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you give us a like, share this video, and give us a comment. Now, Sensei, here's what I want to know, because and you and I, again, we have these private conversations, and we talk about this in the past, but a lot of people, and I am one that believes in this term that you speak your world into existence.
Right.
And because you see that and you say, oh my God, I could never do that. Look at how big that is. Oh my God, I could never get to the top of that compensation. Oh man, I could never make $1 million. Oh man, I could never build that business. Oh man, I could never get a black belt. And when you say that, when you let that vibration out of your face, out of your mouth, that goes out into the universe and brings you back exactly what you're looking for. Right. You know, it's very interesting that the Bible says, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. Right. So he's speaking, and what he's speaking, he's creating. Right. So for me, that always meant, like, you know what? Wow, that's interesting. I never thought about that. Wow, God said something and it was created. And I'm created in God's image. So when I say something, wow, I wonder if that happens too, right? So what do you say about that? A person that's looking at their obstacle and verbalizing that they can't make that.
You're creating your own reality when you do that, because, you know, you're physically shooting out the words from your body. You're feeling that vibration. Words create images. So now you're also creating an image in your mind. You're creating a feeling in your body. And when you speak those words, so now every time you come to that obstacle, mentally you got an image of it. Physically, there's a vibration connected with your words that you get, you just become locked down. It's almost like, I say it's almost like having an anxiety or a panic attack. You feel it in your body. And if you're not careful with your words, man, you can destroy any opportunity or any chance you have, even before you get started. And again, I don't want to get all political, but if you look at last year and the narrative that was being told to a lot of people, well, you're not successful because America is keeping you down. The system is against you. You know, the educational system in this country is horrible. But the reality is, look at all those Asian and Indian kids who go to the same schools with everybody else, but yet they exceed everybody else. Their income is greater than everybody else. So if the system is bad, what's the difference? You know, how is it that we who are born in this country are talking about an oppressive system, and then people who come from a different country, from third world countries, come here and they say America is the land of opportunity and make their dreams come true? So I 100% agree with you that it's the words, how we describe the system, that makes a big difference. Even like most traditional martial arts schools, you start with a meditation or a student pledge. And that student pledge sets the tone for the class. You say it at the beginning, you say it at the end, and you train with that mentality. And when, like say when we're sitting in meditation before class, that serves for you to get rid of everything that happened during the day. You're emptying your mind out so you can take in your instructor's words, so you could be more open to the lesson. All right. Yeah. And a lot of times we don't do that when facing obstacles. You remember what you said about the thoughts that 85% or 80% of the thoughts that we have today are the same ones that we had yesterday.
Right.
Okay. So if you spoke negative words yesterday and you speak those again,
Right.
It's like putting those nails in the coffin, man. You got to change your words. You got to change that imagery.
Yeah,
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, you hit onto something very, very powerful when you first started talking. And we started talking about the lost chapters of the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow
Yeah.
Rich. Believe it or not, chapter 16 was what I told you, transcending above the common man. Chapter 17 was about connecting your vibrations with the universe, so
Right.
that the universe could bring you, and the universe, he explains his God or whatever. And he talked about it just as you were talking about it, that you know what, you're speaking these words. When you're
Right.
speaking these words, you get this image in your mind. When you get the image in your mind, you create these feelings in your body. And now that combination, words being spoken, right? And the images being created and the vibrations being released, right? Very interesting. I was having a conversation with my son today, and it's that old for those of you that are looking at this, you'll have the answer to this, right?
Uh-huh.
If a tree falls in the forest and there is nobody there, does it make a sound? And the
Uh-huh.
answer is it does not make a sound. And
Right.
the reason why it doesn't make a sound, it makes a vibration, but it doesn't make a sound, because the sound is created by the mind. The mind takes the vibration and
Right.
interprets it into a sound,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that's how the sound is. So when you hear, oh, if a tree falls down, of course it makes a sound. Everybody says, of course it makes a sound. The
Right.
fact of the matter is, if there's not a human mind there, it doesn't make a sound,
Right.
right? It only makes
Right.
the vibration.
Right.
So this is what we're talking about. I have this expression that I firmly, firmly believe. There was a lot of things, and you and I grew up together.
Right.
So
Right.
that there was a lot of things you and I believed in that
Right.
we eventually grew out of, and we said,
Right.
wait a
Right.
minute,
Right.
that's not
Right.
true, right? I'm
Right.
still trying to get over the Santa Claus thing, man. I know it's hard. No, but but one of the things I firmly believe is that energy flows where attention goes, right?
Right.
So energy flows where attention goes. That's a powerful statement. Excuse me. And what that means is that if I say, martial arts is a bunch of crap, man,
Right.
that's just a waste of time. Why am I going to go throwing 50 punches a day and right?
Right.
If that's what your energy is at, then that's what's going to grow in your existence, right?
Right.
If you
Right.
look at an obstacle and you say, oh my God, yeah, I want to be a millionaire, but oh my God, it's so hard, and the banks are only giving 2% interest, and this is happening, and oh, the government changed the regulations, and not right. If you're
Right.
looking at the obstacle and that's where your energy is flowing, it's just going to grow from there.
Right. Right.
And what's interesting is that you have the ability to change that. You
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
ability to change the focus. If you
Right.
change the focus and say, hey, yeah, the government changed that regulation, but you know what? I'm going to figure out how to go around that regulation, right?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
and make it happen. Yeah, I know I got to do 150 punches and kicks, and my God, I sweat like crazy, but I'm going to learn how to improve every one of those, right?
Right.
So that I can be a master faster, right?
Right.
It's a very, very powerful thing. And I think it all links into this idea of what you were saying.
Right.
When you speak something, you got to watch what you speak, because your
Yep.
words create. But when you speak something, you create the idea, you create the vibration, and now you start putting your attention on something, and that starts to grow. Energy flows where attention goes, right?
Yeah. And it's so funny you bring that out because, I have my dojo, and because of COVID, the restrictions, a lot of the schools are, I hate to use the word sufferings, but we're not doing as well as we were in the past. And, we are learning to adapt. So the other day, my son was talking to me, and we were talking, and he told me we needed a couple of new uniforms, right? He told, we just need a couple of this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to order 16 uniforms. I don't need 16 uniforms. I only needed 2, right? But my thought is I'm buying 16 uniforms because I want 16 new students. So I need to have the uniforms there for when they come in. So my mentality is, okay, I got the gi. Now I got to put a body in that uniform. All right. And that's where my mindset is. I know all the regulations and everything, and I'm doing everything to keep everybody safe. But I said, you know what? Let me put it out there to the universe. All right. But I can't put it out there to the universe without taking action. And my action to the universe and my words were, I'm going to order 16 uniforms. I got them at the dojo. Now I just got to put the bodies in it. And it's a different mindset between saying, okay, let me get the student first, then I'll buy the uniform. No, there's certain things, certain actions we have to take to let the creator or the universe, whatever you want to call it, know that you're serious about this. Okay. And there will be obstacles, but my intention is already out there. So I know whatever challenges I face, I can overcome it because my intention has already been sent out there. What do you think, Mike?
Well, you know what? I wanted to kind of interrupt you there, and I'm glad you threw it back into my court, because is there an example that you could share with us? And I'll share one with you. But is there an example where you spoke your world into existence where, like you just said, you know what? I was speaking with my son and we said, all right, we need some new uniforms. All right, we need 2 of them. No, I'm not going to get 2. I'm going to get 16 because you know what? We're going to get some new students. I can feel it. I know it, right? Is there anything that you could recall? And I know we've spoken many times. Yeah, and there's a lot. But give us an example of something that you could say happened.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the most recent, and that was yesterday. All right, I'm part of this collaborative care council at my job, and the initiative for this year is to create wellness for the employees to help them feel better at their jobs and stuff like that. So every floor and every department has their project, right? So I was thinking, I said, man, I got to do something that will not just benefit my floor, but will benefit the entire hospital system. But I got to create a win-win situation for someone, right? Because, again, we're network marketers. We know that creating a win-win situation is always the best thing. So I said, you know what? Today, I'm going to go to a couple of the stores and see if we can get a discount for the employees. And the first spot that I went to, it's a vitamin store, right? They have a lot of great health products. I went in there. I asked to speak to the manager. My first time meeting the manager. I told him what we were doing. How can he be supportive? And he said, man, I like this idea. And I told him, listen, we have 70,000 employees. What can you do for us that would benefit you and benefit me? So he goes, listen, if any of the employees from the hospital come with their work ID, I will give them a buy one, get one free from here to October.
Wow.
Yeah. So all they got, any product that they buy at his store, that has the store name on it, is buy one, get one free. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I sent that. I sent the results to the president of my hospital, and they're blasting that email to everybody. So that benefits the store owner. It benefits the employees at my hospital, but it's also a feather in my cap.
Right.
So that's something that I feel, with the creator's blessing, I was able to speak it into existence.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. You know what, man? Just the other day, and I'm going to give you a recent one too. And I'll tell you, man, this was so impressive for me. I had to tell my wife and I told my kids about it, right?
Right.
I woke up the other day and 2 days ago, and I got this certain routine before I even get off my bed. I do this thing with my mind, right? Like I start picturing things and I start thinking about goals and things like that. And I said to myself, I'm going to make $500 today, right? This is what I said to myself. And I didn't know. I didn't say, all right, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to have somebody call me and book a $500 job. It wasn't nothing like that, right? it was just, I said to myself, I'm gonna make $500 today, right? So I go on in my day, and maybe 3 hours later, I'm checking my email, right? And I see an email that says, "Oh, congratulations, Mike. Your domain was shifted to another name." Now, a domain is the .com name, right?
Right, right,
And as it turns out, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? I didn't shift that domain. What do you mean they shifted my
right,
domain?
right,
So I
right,
called GoDaddy, because GoDaddy's the one I bought it from.
right,
And they said, "Oh no, Mike, what happened was that when you bought the domain, you put it up for sale because that was, they offered if you wanted to put it up for sale, and you click yes, and somebody just bought it. And you know how much
right.
they bought it for?
Uh,
$1,100.
wow.
And that's something?
Wow.
I was like flabbergasted. I said, "How much?"
Wow.
Yeah, what is all this? And they
Right.
said, "No, yeah, somebody bought it for $1,100." I said, "Wow, you got to be kidding me!" Now, somebody might look at this and say, "Wow, that's a hell of a coincidence, Mike." But you know what? I notice that the more I do this, the more I start my day with a specific intention,
Right,
and I
right,
actually verbalize it, right?
right,
It starts. I don't know what the magic is. I really don't know.
right,
But it's part of that manifesting magic that's all around us, right? I don't know, but
right,
it just happened to me, where I was telling my son, I said, "Wow, I didn't even expect that." So just to be clear and to
right,
be
right,
transparent, out of the 1,100, I get 925, because there's a fee that they charge. They charge
right,
like
right, 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 right.
$170. But I don't care. I mean,
Yeah,
$900, that was
yeah,
totally unexpected, right?
yeah.
Totally unexpected. So yeah, man. And you know what? Here's what I tell you. My wife and I, and I've been inculcating this to my wife, because you know what? Sometimes you just say things out of the blue, right? "Oh, every year I get the flu around this time of the year," right?
Right, right, right.
And you'd be surprised. That person is lying in bed a week later, right,
Yeah,
with the flu.
yeah, yeah.
So why not say, "You know what? My immune system has gotten stronger," right? Why not say, "Money is just circulating around my life more and more."
Right,
You
right,
know,
right,
you know what? I'm feeling stronger every day.
right.
Or you know what? My business is growing faster every day, right?
Uh,
Instead of talking about, because this is the problem, and this is what we're talking about. You
right,
look at the obstacle. "Oh man, I wanted to buy that car, but man, my credit is no good." So you got that
uh,
obstacle. Can you overcome that? Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, no doubt about it.
right,
But it's going to take you doing some mental work. It's going to take you, figuring things out. It's never the end. It's only the
right,
end when you quit, right?
right.
But you got to figure out how to speak it into existence. You got to figure out how to mentally put it in your mind so that it actually comes out, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny that you bring that up, because I got a couple of students, and I'm gonna give them a couple of shout outs. I got um I have a long-time student, and I'm going to mention her name, Mary Beth Schaefer, and she's an accomplished professional. She teaches. She's been with me a long time. She's earned her third-degree black belt with me. She's an
Nice.
inspiration to,
I know Mary Beth.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's a sweetheart. And it's funny because, a few years ago, there was challenges, going on, and then when the COVID hit, because she's a professor, so we talk a lot. We talk a lot about teaching and the obstacles that her students were facing and she was facing, and all the things that she's had to do to overcome these things, right? But what amazes me is that despite her responsibilities as a professor, she has three children. One of them is married. Um, she still is very dedicated to the martial arts. She still has the time to come 3 times a week and train. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
I'm not putting anybody else's down, their level of responsibilities, or whatever they may be going through. But I know that at her level, It's not just a 9 to 5 job. You just don't go clock in at 9 and leave at 5. There's a lot of late nights that she's got to put in, a lot of work that she's got to take home. She speaks sometimes nationally, sometimes internationally. She'll do lectures. She's part of conferences, but she's still able to make it. And you know, it's funny. Like one time she had told me, I don't even remember if I don't know if she remembers telling me this, that when she first joined, getting a black belt, it wasn't a big deal for her. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't her objective for training. But she told me, I think when she got to about green belt or just a little past green belt, that there was a shift in her thinking that I could do this. I'm going to go for it. And she has, and she's an immense part of my school, you know? And, you know, and I had another student that I had mentioned before, young man, who, when we talk about obstacles, you know, as a martial artist, if it takes you 1 year to learn a kata, we know that's a long time. You know, that's a slow process. And this young man has a certain learning disability, but his mother made sure that he was watching videos on the katas. You know what I'm saying? She brought him faithfully to school, to classes. And, you know, because of the COVID, you know, the mother pulled him out for a while, you know, so everything settles down. But prior to COVID, this kid got all the way up to my blue level, was part of my demos. All right. And was just one of the most phenomenal students that I had. All right.
Wow.
But if you looked at the first year of training, Michael, you would be, this kid is not going to make it past white belt. But because he hung in there, and like what you said earlier, he has somebody behind him. Listen, it was just incredible, the transformation that he went through to overcome the challenges that he was facing.
Wow.
Now let me ask you, Michael, do you feel that there are different obstacles, or can we categorize them into 2 or 3 general type of obstacles?
Wow, that's interesting. That's you know, it's almost for me like fear, right?
Right.
Fear is something that we create in our minds,
Right.
and we kind of invoke this picture that creates the fear, because fear is never really an actual thing until, you know,
Right. Right.
until you actually, right? I mean, you create this thing, and that's what stops you.
Right.
So I think for the most part, most of the obstacles that we create are imaginary for the most
Right.
part, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying that there isn't obstacles where, you know, let's say, I don't even know, I don't even want to categorize anything in particular, but I
Right.
think it all starts with the way we interpret the pictures and
Right.
what we
Right.
believe is our ability, right?
Right.
You know, Muhammad Ali said something very interesting. He said, you know, everybody was afraid, and I wasn't afraid. I have faith in myself, and that's what
Right.
made him the greatest. You know, where
Right.
people would say, "Oh my God, you can't fight Sonny Liston. Sonny
Right.
Liston
Right.
is a beast, man. He's gonna
Yeah.
tear you up."
Yeah.
That's what you say. I don't believe that. I think I could do that. Now, he
Right.
could have been like the average person and
Right.
just let that fear control his
Mhm.
mind, but he
Right.
didn't. So I think obstacles. I think that there's very few obstacles. I mean, when you think about what people have accomplished, right?
Right. Right.
They found a way to go against the grain. Right
Right.
now,
Right.
most situations, you know, a person says, a doctor says, "Hey, you got this deadly disease," and people just succumb to that. Oh
Right.
my God, I'm gonna be dead in 3 months, right?
Right.
And they go with that idea, and they literally use their mind to kill themselves.
Right. Right.
Now, there have been people that, you know, and you're in the medical field, you know, that there's this thing called what do they call it, instant remission or something like
Right.
that.
Right. Right.
Now, instant remissions is something that's in the medical books, right?
Right. Right.
They
Right.
say, yeah, there is a such thing as instant
Yeah.
remission. We don't know how to do it, but there is something as that they acknowledge that it exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of a sudden, I had this disease and I was in critical, dire straits, and then all of a sudden, you go back, well, there's no sign of the disease. What happened?
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
So I mean, this is what I'm talking about. That there's so much that we can do as human beings. I don't see that there is an obstacle big enough, right? It's just, you know what? We're lazy. You know, Earl Nightingale in his greatest secret and in the strangest secret, back when he did that back in the
Right.
60s, he said that the biggest failure that human beings have is that they don't want to think. They don't want
Yeah.
to think. They don't want to take a second to say, you know, how do I accomplish that? Man, I got this huge obstacle. And I don't care what the obstacle is, whether it's a psychological obstacle or a physical obstacle or
Right.
an emotional obstacle. You can overcome the greatest obstacle in the world if you put yourself in a position and you had the belief system that
Right.
said, you know what? I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to make
Right.
sure that I do this, this, and this. And you know what's interesting is that a lot of times, if you put an idea in your head and you say, all right, I'm going to overcome this obstacle. I don't know
Right.
how yet, but I'm going
Right.
to overcome. Just taking a step forward, the path is going to open, right?
Yeah.
The right
Yeah.
mentor is going to come in. The right
Right.
circumstance is going to open up to you. And that happens. So for me, whether there's different types of obstacles that are concrete or psychological or whatever, I put them all together and make it into a mental thing.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because about what is it, about 3 4 years ago, I ended up having to get a new car, right? And since I was going to borrow money from the union, they had some very strict guidelines about how old the car could be, how many mileage it could be. And I was looking around and I wasn't finding the deals that I wanted, Mike. I mean, it was way out of my budget, or the car didn't fit the requirements of 1199. And you know, I was without a car for about 2 months because I kept looking, right? And then one day I get turned down from one place, right? And I'm walking and I said, let me go into this Mitsubishi dealership, right? And I go in there. They got new cars. They have used cars. The salesman starts talking to me. We start talking, and he sees that I have my T-shirt with my karate logo. He goes, "Hey, one of our guys is a martial artist, right?" So he introduces me to him. It turns out three of the guys that worked there were all martial artists,
Mm.
right? And one of them had a bad shoulder. So you know, I'm into the oil. So I said, you know, we started talking, we developed a rapport. I told him, listen, let me put some oils on your shoulder. Let me, you know, work that out. So I got him feeling good, right? And he called the manager of the place, and they gave me the deal that I needed on a car.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
but again, it's the intention that you put out there. It's the vibration that you put out there, because you may have skills, but if you approach the universe or life or other people with a negative vibration, people pick up on that and they'll stay
Absolutely.
away from you. You know, it's like they say that animals can sense fear, or they can sense when somebody is like emotionally disturbed, because it's that that vibration we put out there. And we always have to look at our obstacles like that. How am I approaching this? What am I projecting out there that has manifested this obstacle? And sometimes, you know, I will say this, you know, there are times when something just pops up out of the blue, hits you out of the left field, right? But you still got to look at it and say, you know what? This problem exists. I didn't ask for this problem. I didn't look for it, but I have to deal with it. Okay. Now, I like to look at things this way, and give me your feedback on it. I like to look at things like this: mental, physical, or emotional. And I look at the problem and I say, okay, do I have to enhance my mental skills to overcome it? Do I have to enhance my physical skills or my emotional skills? Okay. And
Mm.
all three are doable. You can
Hmm.
always enhance your mental skills. You can learn something. Physically, you can get healthier if you choose to. All right.
Mhm.
Emotionally, you can develop emotional maturity through what you read. And if you look at the problem and you say, this is a mental problem, I just got to go out there, develop a system or develop new skills or get a mentor to teach me this. Or physically, you know what? This problem is coming because I lack the physical energy to do what is required to handle this problem. So let me eat better. Let me sleep better. Let me do some meditation. And emotionally, you can say, you know what? This is a problem that's coming because I'm becoming overly anxious. I'm too emotionally involved with this. So again, you find a mentor, you read a book, you learn how to detach, and that helps you with that. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, being a martial artist, we found, I think, and I believe that you believe this too, that martial arts finds a way to unite the mind, the body, and the spirit. And I'm going to
Right,
call
right, right,
the emotions the spirit, right?
right, right,
And number one, one change in any one of those, one change in the body affects the mind and the emotions.
right,
So you kind of got to work them in unity, and that's a great way of. And I've never thought about it the way you just explained it, but that's a very, very powerful way of looking at that.
right.
That where am I lacking here? Is it a physical thing? Is it an emotional thing? Is it a mental thing? That to me, it's a great insight, man. I'm going to write that down and I'm going to put that in my journal, because you know what? That, I mean, to me, that's the way that you do it, right?
Right, right,
Everything,
right,
everything is simply a lack of awareness, right?
right,
Everything.
right, right,
So if you say, man, I got this huge obstacle, I want to create this goal, man, I would love to create this goal, but I got this huge obstacle because I don't know, do I have the emotions to do it? Or do I have the physical strength to do it? Or do I have the mental acuity to do it? Whatever it is, it's just a matter of not being aware of that. You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right,
So yeah, man, that I love that, man. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you. You taught me something today that I could take back and write
right,
on.
right.
And again, I want to encourage whoever is looking at this. If you lasted this long and you've lasted with us, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you give us a like. Make sure you share this and comment. Right? If there was
Right,
any
right.
part of what we said that intrigue you, make sure you comment and let us know what it is. We want to hear your feedback. But Sensei, I truly enjoyed this conversation much more than I thought I would, man. And it's been great, and I truly appreciate you coming up with all these great ideas, especially this last one. So, anything you want to say in closing?
Let me close with scripture for the guys out there who are going through something difficult. If you have a Bible, or look, you can go to your computer nowadays, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Second, let me get it right. Let me make sure I get it right. 2 Timothy 1:7. It says, for the Lord did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and self-discipline. And I
Wow.
think, yeah, that's a guiding one for me. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7.
Very cool, man. I love that.
Yeah, and I think, listen, whether you're a believer or non-believer, that's not the issue. I think those are words of wisdom, and anybody, regardless of your faith, whether you're an atheist, agnostic, whatever, if you believe in aliens, whatever you believe in, that I think that is so true. That if we realize that we were not created with a spirit of fear, okay, and if we apply power, strength, love, which we could say passion and self-discipline, there's so much that we can accomplish, Michael. There's so much that we can overcome, that we don't have to live lives of what they used to call quiet desperation.
Yeah.
You can move forward in life, and that may look different for different people. For some people, it's living in a big house, making $1 million. For other people, it's just having inner peace. For some people, it may be leaving a legacy of giving to others. Everybody's different. Everybody's got to pick their role differently. But you know, I do want to wish everybody the best of luck in their endeavors. And again, please reach out to us or shoot a comment with a topic that maybe you would like for us to hear. And we'll definitely do our research. We'll share our personal experiences, and you know, share this with your friends. All right, Mike?
And by the way, guys, for any one of you that are living in Queens, New York, or you're going to be in Queens, New York, I encourage you, stop by Sensei School. Sensei, where's your school at?
108-15 Richmond Hill, Queens, New York.
Yeah.
I'm right on the first floor.
That's on Jamaica Avenue, right?
Jamaica Avenue, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm telling you, you're going to have a great time sitting and talking with Sensei. You're going to have a great time looking at his class. And if you can join one of his classes, I'll tell you, it just develops you at a tremendous level, guys. I mean, it develops your mind, body, and your spirit beyond anything that I could say. If you're interested in online marketing, or you're interested in starting a home business, hit me up, contact me, and say, hey, Mike, you know, I'd like to see what you're involved with. And we're here to help, guys. We're here. We are doing these Born to Win conversations. By the way, Sensei School is called Born to Win Martial Arts. And that's his philosophy. And that's why we decided to call this Born to Win Conversations. You're going to find that personal growth. And this is what juices both of us, right? That's why we're both into martial arts, because we want to continue growing, but we also want to help other people grow. Other people break through their fears and achieve things that they thought wasn't possible. Those humongous obstacles that you think are in your way, they're not in the way. What's in your way is your mind. You got to get over that. So again, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Give us a like, comment, and share this. Give us a comment. I want to hear your comments. And if you do go and stop by Sensei School, make sure you go over there and take a picture, and Sensei will put it up on our next conversation.
Yes, right, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, guys. We'll see you, Sensei. Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless to the family. All right.
Thank you, man.
All right.